There comes a time in every man's life when the noise of the world begins to lose its grip on him, and the things that once felt urgent no longer carry the same weight they once did. The constant chase for approval, success, and recognition slowly fades. Not because life has ended, but because something deeper is awakening within. Many older men reach this stage and feel a quiet confusion, not weakness and not failure, but a sense that something has shifted in a way they cannot fully explain. This is not the end of your relevance. This is the beginning of your understanding. You are not losing your place in the world. You are being invited to see it more clearly than ever before. What you need now is not more ambition or more noise. What you need is clarity, control, and inner strength. This is where Stoicism becomes not just useful, but essential. The transition from action to understanding. For most of your life, you were taught that your value came from what you could do. You worked, you built, you provided, and you solved problems. Your identity was tied to your output, and your sense of worth was often measured by results. This way of living served a purpose, and it shaped you into the man you are today. However, there comes a point where constant doing no longer satisfies the deeper part of your mind. You begin to realize that endless activity does not equal fulfillment. Stoicism teaches that life is not only about action, but also about understanding. A man who has learned to master his thoughts, his emotions, and his reactions holds a kind of power that no external success can replace. This stage of life is not about slowing down in defeat. It is about rising into awareness. It is about learning to sit with yourself without discomfort and to observe your own thoughts without being controlled by them. This is not a loss of purpose. It is a refinement of it. Letting go of what is no longer yours to carry. As the years pass, many men carry an invisible weight made up of regrets, past mistakes, missed opportunities, and unresolved emotions. These burdens often remain unspoken, but they quietly influence how you see yourself in the world around you. Stoicism offers a simple but powerful truth. Not everything belongs to you, and not everything is within your control. You cannot change your past, no matter how much you revisit it in your mind. You cannot force others to understand you, forgive you, or see you the way you wish to be seen. What you can control is how you respond to these realities in the present moment. Holding on to regret is like carrying a heavy object long after it has served its purpose. At some point, you must decide to set it down. This does not mean denying your past or pretending it did not matter. It means accepting that it is complete and choosing not to let it define the rest of your life. True strength is not found in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. The discipline of silence and restraint. There is a kind of strength that reveals itself not through action, but through restraint. When you were younger, you may have felt the need to respond to every challenge, defend every opinion, and prove yourself in every situation. Over time, you begin to understand that not every conflict deserves your attention, and not every opinion deserves your response. Stoicism teaches the value of silence, not as a form of weakness, but as a demonstration of control. When you choose not to react impulsively, you are exercising discipline. When you remain calm in the face of provocation, you are demonstrating strength. A man who has control over his reactions cannot be easily disturbed by the world around him. He does not waste energy on arguments that lead nowhere, and he does not allow others to dictate his emotional state. This kind of self-mastery creates a quiet authority that others can feel, even when nothing is said. Redefining what it means to succeed. Many men spend decades chasing a version of success defined by society, which often includes wealth, status, and external recognition. While these things can have their place, they rarely provide lasting satisfaction. At some point, you may begin to question whether the pursuit itself was ever aligned with what truly matters. Stoicism encourages a different definition of success, one that is based on character rather than achievement. Success becomes a matter of how you live, how you treat others, and how you manage your inner world. It is measured by your ability to remain calm under pressure, to act with fairness, and to maintain discipline even when it is difficult. A man who has learned to control his impulses and remain steady in the face of challenges possesses a kind of success that cannot be taken away. External circumstances may change, but inner stability remains. Understanding and accepting the process of aging. Aging is often seen as something to resist or fear, but Stoicism offers a different perspective. Every stage of life has its purpose, and each phase brings its own form of value. Youth is often associated with energy and ambition, while later years offer something far more valuable: perspective. As an older man, you have experiences that cannot be replicated and insights that cannot be rushed. You have seen enough of life to understand patterns, consequences, and the true nature of many things that younger people are still trying to figure out. Instead of comparing yourself to younger versions of yourself or to younger men, you can begin to appreciate the role you now play. Your strength is no longer measured by speed or physical capability, but by your ability to guide, to understand, and to remain steady. This is not a loss. It is a transformation. Releasing the need for validation. One of the most subtle traps in life is the need for validation from others. This need can influence decisions, shape behavior, and create unnecessary stress. Stoicism teaches that your worth is not determined by how others perceive you. You are not defined by your reputation, your past accomplishments, or your failures. You are defined by your character and your actions in the present moment. When you release the need to be constantly validated, you free yourself from a cycle that many people never escape. An older man who understands this becomes more grounded and less reactive. He no longer feels the need to prove himself, and he no longer depends on external approval to feel secure. This creates a sense of inner peace that cannot be easily disturbed. Rediscovering purpose and simplicity. As responsibilities change and the demands of life shift, it is common to question your purpose. You may wonder what your role is now and where you fit in a world that seems to move faster than ever. Stoicism reminds you that purpose is not something that disappears. It is something that evolves. Purpose does not always have to be grand or visible. It can exist in simple, meaningful actions such as sharing knowledge, supporting others, continuing to learn, and living each day with intention. A purposeful life is not defined by how much you accomplish, but by how consciously you live. You have the freedom to choose how you spend your time and what you give your attention to. This is not a limitation. It is an opportunity to focus on what truly matters without distraction. Accepting the reality of life and death, Stoicism does not avoid difficult truths. Instead, it encourages you to face them with clarity and acceptance. One of the most important realities is that life is finite. This is not meant to create fear, but to create awareness. When you understand that your time is limited, you begin to value it more deeply. You become less interested in trivial matters and more focused on what brings genuine meaning. You start to appreciate moments rather than rushing through them. Accepting the reality of death allows you to live more fully. It removes the illusion that you have endless time and encourages you to make the most of what you have. This awareness brings a sense of urgency, not in a stressful way, but in a purposeful one. You are not at the end of your journey. You are at a point where you can see more clearly than ever before. The distractions that once pulled you in every direction no longer have the same power. You have the ability to choose how you think, how you respond, and how you live. Stoicism is not about withdrawing from life. It is about engaging with it in a more intentional and controlled way. It is about finding strength within yourself rather than searching for it in the outside world. This stage of your life is not about proving anything to anyone else. It is about mastering your own mind and living with clarity, discipline, and peace. Few men reach this level of understanding, and even fewer embrace it. Now is your time to do so.